Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing episode 2 of a newer series that I started about 2 months ago called My Number One Makeup Right Now. Basically, the concept was just to share with you guys a full face of my number one products in each category at the moment. So it's a little different than a favorites video just because it could be products that I've had for a long time that have made their way back into my routine. And it's just one product per category. Like I said in my first video, I will have that link down below, by the way, if you didn't see the first one. But my preferences change, throughout the seasons and just with whatever I'm into as far as formula goes or even colors. So I wanted to make these videos every once in a while and kind of update you guys on just the things that I'm loving. And I don't purposefully choose, high-end or drugstore. I have a good mix in front of me this time as well as the last video I did, but I choose one product per category in my entire collection that I'm just reaching for the most or that I would recommend to a friend right now, if that makes sense. So the last one I did, I had my makeup already done, and you guys said in that one that you might want to see me do an application version next time. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply the products as we go. With that being said, I'm going to just talk about the products in order of application versus like the order that I did them last time, if that makes sense. So we're going to start with primer. I'm going to do the complexion first, and we'll finish with a setting spray. So my number one primer right now, I am back on this. This is definitely not a new product to me or to you guys either. You've heard me talk about it several times. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. This is the kind of glowy primer. I love to use it as a base. You can also use it as a highlighter, but I'm obsessed with it right now as a primer again. Like I said, I feel like it's just maybe the time of year. It's winter. I'm wanting more like hydrated, healthy, glowy looking skin. So I literally just apply this all over the face. I love the luminosity that this gives, but it never looks sparkly. And even though I have acne prone skin, I don't find that it looks funny over top of texture, if that makes sense. I still feel like it gives an overall smoothing, glowy appearance, which is so nice. You could technically use this as a base product and just go straight into concealer if you're feeling like having even more of a fresh makeup day, but like I said, I've been really loving it as a base. I'm just gonna kind of press that in with my sponge. Honestly, I would be confident leaving the house with just this on. Look how glowy it makes my skin. I'm really happy that it's back in my routine. I should mention also in this series, you might see reoccurring products from episode to episode because I really try to be honest with myself about all of the things that I have in my collection in that category. And if it's still the same as 2 months ago, I'm going to mention it again. I feel like it's more realistic that way, My routine doesn't always switch up entirely. And one of the things that didn't change is my foundation. So it's the same as last time. I still think it's the best out of my collection. It's the Uoma Beauty Say What Weightless Soft Matte Foundation. I wear the shade Fair Lady T2N. I don't know what it is about this foundation, but it's just so beautiful. I love the texture. I love the formula. I love the wear of it. I love how it builds. It's just incredible. So I'm going to take some of this on the back of my hand, and I'm just going to apply it on top of that glowy primer. You can really build this up to a full coverage if you want to. I'm going to do more of like a medium coverage today because I want some of that glowy primer to still be able to shine through. I'm just going to take what's left on the back of my hand with that same sponge I was just using, and I'm going to press this into the complexion. I feel like this series is also going to be fun for me because even though it's very clear to me like what my number one products are in each category, it doesn't necessarily mean that I wear all of these together every day, if that makes sense. A lot of them I do, definitely, but it's kind of fun for me to see all the things that are my number ones on my face all at once, if that makes sense. Such a beautiful foundation. I'm still obsessed with it. For concealer, my number one is actually one from the drugstore. I can't stop using this. It's the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I just feel like, again, maybe it's the time of year. I love the texture of this. I love the finish. I love the wear on me. I use the shade Fair Beige. I'm just going to go ahead and apply that underneath the eyes. And I'll do a little bit down the center of the face. And then I'm just going to blend that out with the same sponge. But yeah, I don't know. I just love the coverage and the texture of this. I feel like similar to the foundation, it's very buildable. Like it gives good coverage, but it also doesn't feel or look heavy on the skin, which I love. And in the wintertime, I'm always reaching for, slightly more hydrating products. So it's really nice that way. It keeps my complexion looking fresh and hydrated during these dry, cold winter months. I'm just going to take what's left on the sponge and cancel out any discoloration on the eyelid. I'm taking a little bit more of the Oma foundation, trying to cover up that blemish. I might not be able to get rid of it completely, but it looks a little better. All right, something else that has rolled back into my routine is this cream bronzer from Bare Minerals. You guys know how much I love this. It's the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Glow bronzer in the shade Faux Tan. It's just such a foolproof liquid bronzer. I'm obsessed with it. A little bit goes a very long way, so I'm just gonna do about a half a pump on the back of my hand. And you can see it kind of has a little bit more of a runny texture, but once you blend it out, it really is super foolproof. So I'm just gonna take this on a duo fiber brush and start to warm up the complexion along the cheeks, on the forehead, jawline, and then also down the neck. This is something that if I'm in a hurry, I will just apply and use this alone to warm up the complexion. I will also sometimes layer it, and I actually do have another powder bronzer that I will layer on top later. But you'll see, like, if you just wanted to leave your complexion like this, it added back just enough color to kind of balance things out after the foundation and concealer, but it's not overboard. I love it so much. I always love to take my sponge and just press over everything one more time. I feel like I use my sponge in between every step almost when it comes to the complexion. It just helps blend everything together perfectly. All right, so my number one powder right now is this one right here. I cannot get enough of this. It's the Ciate Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. I love the texture of this. It's very fine, but it's not too finely milled either. It's just perfect. Like, it really is so beautiful. I love to just take it on a small brush and press it in the T-zone. And then you'll see, like, I always take a sponge. I'll show you in a minute. But I feel like this is one of those powders that when you press it down into the skin with a sponge afterwards, it almost completely disappears, like, visibly on the skin. Even though your makeup is locked in and set, you cannot see any trace of powder, which is so nice. It makes everything look so natural. So I initially just kind of press it into the complexion, and you'll see, like, I have extra powder over here, but I don't really worry about it too much because I go in with my sponge afterwards to kind of get rid of the excess. Just setting the eyelids as well. I always take a slightly larger brush just for the outer portions of the face, just to kind of set those too. And then here's the fun part, going back over everything gently with my sponge to get rid of that excess. And again, I just feel like it helps lock everything in so nicely. And it makes the complexion look like you almost don't even have a foundation or powder on it. Like I said before, I really do love to sometimes leave the bronzer as is, but I will show you guys my current top powder bronzer, and I'm back on the Fenty Sunstalker Instant Warmth Bronzer in the shade Into Sun. It is so good for my skin tone right now. Since it's winter time, it's just foolproof. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of this and just lightly layer that on top of where I applied the cream. I really don't want too much, but you guys know how much I love a good bronzer. I feel like it just really helps give life to the skin. It's one of my essential products, I would say, in my everyday routine. All right, so my number one highlighter right now is also something that has jumped back into my routine, which is fun about these videos as well. I feel like not everything is brand new, although there are some new things. It's so fun to see, like, the products that I've already owned for a long time come back and become like my top products again, if that makes sense. My number one highlighter is this right here from The Balm. This is the Mary Luminizer highlighter. I used to love this, and then recently I picked it up again and it has just become like my number one again. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to the high points of the face. I love this because you can really build it up if you want to. It's gonna give you gorgeous, glowy skin, but it's nothing too sparkly. It works great for every day and for more glamorous occasions. It really is so beautiful. Just gonna apply that down the center of the nose, Cupid's bow, and also a little underneath the brow bone and above the brow right here. So pretty, the most beautiful, like, natural glow. I'm in love with this all over again. Just going over this with my sponge again, I feel like it helps just melt it into the complexion and look like it's coming from my skin instead of sitting on top, which is amazing. I love it. My number one blush right now is something that I've been using quite a bit on my channel. I think this is the most gorgeous blush. It's a beautiful bright pink. This is the Lawless Make Me Blush Velvet Blush in the shade Sakura. It has a little bit of a sheen to it, so I like that I can use this on days where maybe I don't want to use highlighter because it does have that glow to it, but it's also beautiful layered with a highlighter too. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this to the apples of the cheeks. It's definitely more of a brighter pink. I don't really know how this is gonna look with the eyeshadow palette that I have as my number one, so just bear with me, but I love this blush Again, I feel like it's a time of year type thing. I feel like the reason why I'm loving it so much is just because it's such a good winter color. Something that's just gonna add that extra brightness to the skin during the months where a lot of us, you know, lose our summer glow. I feel like this is such a good winter kind of a glow. A bright pink blush, at least for me anyway. All right, so far so good. My number one brow products are the same as well. I am still loving the Precisely My Brow Pencil from Benefit. No surprise there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and fill these in really quickly. I use the shade 4. It's just such a good brow pencil. I've used this for years and I've loved it for years, and it still is my favorite. All right, let's move on to eyeshadow. So I'm gonna try to do more of a simple look with this eyeshadow palette, just because everything else looks kind of fresh and bright. But this is by far my number one eyeshadow palette right now. It's from ColourPop. It's the That's Taupe eyeshadow palette. I get giddy about this. I truly do. It is such an incredible everyday palette, but you can also amp it up to more glam looks. It has everything you need. There's not a shade in here that I don't love. I love this so much. You have the mattes, you have so many beautiful metallics. Then you have a Super Shock shadow, which I love to use on its own as just a topper for a quick glam look. This is my favorite palette for sure right now. I love it so much. I'm gonna do a really quick look with it though. Let's start out with this shade right here at the top called Boa. I'm just gonna start to kind of create a little bit of definition in the crease with this. Again, I'm just gonna do something really soft so it doesn't clash with the rest of my makeup since it is a little more of a cool toned palette. I'm just running that Boa shade in the crease, feathering it up toward the brow as my transition. I'm also gonna take that and kind of define the lower lash line. It'll just create a very, very soft definition, but I love that for every day. Next, I'm gonna go down to this shade right here called Rock Steady. And I'm just wanting a little more definition along the lash line on the top lid. So I'm taking like a fluffy brush and just smudging it along the lash line and then taking what's left into the crease just to further define. But I'm really not using that much because I don't want it to be too intense at all for this look today. Okay, I feel like that's enough definition. It's not too much, which is what I'm going for. So now I'm gonna take the Super Shock shadow right here. This is called Slated. And I'm just gonna take my finger and apply that all over the eyelid. I love that Super Shock shadow. I think it looks so pretty that's just all over the lid like this with just a little bit of definition. So that's actually all I'm gonna do for the eyes. I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but we're gonna add mascara. My number one mascara right now I just recently talked about, but it genuinely is so good. I love this so much. It's the Bite Beauty Upswing Mascara. I really genuinely have been reaching for this on like an everyday basis for glam looks and also for everyday looks. It just gives the most insane volume ever. And I love volume in my mascaras, plus it doesn't smudge or flake on me, which is the best. So I'm just gonna apply this to the top and bottom lashes. And even though this just recently launched, I've been testing it out for 2 months for a partnership that I did with Bite Beauty. This video isn't sponsored, but I worked with them on a video recently for this mascara, and I have been trying this for 2 months straight. So that's why I'm able to say like it's my current number one, because it's not like brand new to me personally. It's been in my routine since the end of October when I first started trying it out, but I just couldn't tell you guys about it until it launched. Oh, it's so good. My number one lip liner right now is one that I've talked about several times, but again, it's back in my routine regularly. It's the NYX lip pencil in the shade Natural. I love this one so much. So I'm gonna line and fill in the lips with this. It's such a good everyday shade, but it also works great with glam looks as well, because I feel like it's deep enough to really define my lips, but it's still light enough to pass as like my natural lip color almost. I love that so much. All right, for lipstick slash gloss, I felt like this was kind of a combo of both, so I'm just gonna combine the categories this time. I love this. I love this so much. I can't stop using it. It's just the most beautiful formula. It's from M Cosmetics. It doesn't have the title on it. I think they're like their lip cushions. I should probably look it up before I like make up a name. Okay, they are called the lip cushions. I wasn't just making that up. They have several different shades, but my personal favorite is the shade Magic Hour. I love this so much. They actually just launched a clear balm, which I'm so excited about, but I'll just apply this for you so you can see what I mean. It gives the most beautiful color and the most beautiful shine. So it kind of combines like a lip gloss and a lipstick and a lip balm, I would say, because it kind of feels comfortable like a lip balm and hydrating like a lip balm. It's seriously my favorite. I love this one so much. I guess I should assess the situation before we do setting spray. Just gonna add a little more bronzer just with what's left on the brush. I'm gonna add a little more blush with what's left on that brush as well. Okay, my number one setting spray right now is definitely, I'll just put the picture here. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This will make your makeup not budge all day long. It's so good. I love this one. You guys know I've talked about this several times, but it's in my number one spot right now when it comes to setting spray. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spray the whole face. I'm actually gonna block the mascara to make sure it doesn't mess with the formula. Just spritz this on the face. I think it smells good too. I'm just gonna kind of let that dry. And then I'm gonna go ahead and kind of press the setting spray into the complexion with my sponge to make sure that there's no excess powders. It just makes things look more natural again. And then of course, my same old favorite number one brow gel, the Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter. I'm gonna go ahead and use that to set the brows. Okay, so that's the finished look. I definitely feel like everything ended up working together, even though the tones and undertones of some of these I don't necessarily, you know, choose to use together. Like I don't usually use this bright pink blush with a cool tone palette, but I felt like I was able to make it work today. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing the application version of this video. Again, I will have my first episode of this linked down below. I still love all of those products that I talked about in that video, so if you want to check that out, I will have it linked. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what my number one products are right now. I truly hope to keep up this series every couple of months probably, or every season basically. I feel like the last one that I did was more fall. I feel like this is definitely more winter, so when spring rolls around, I'll probably do another one, you know, when my routine kind of switches up that way. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I definitely love making these kinds of videos. I hope that it's helpful, especially with so many launches all the time. I feel like it's good to just consolidate to one product per category that I'm really loving. So I truly do hope that it was helpful to you guys. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it for me today. I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.